Hey everybody, this is Jim Shelby from NexCore. I'm really this is one of those real conversations that I've been waiting for a long time. Because I have no idea where this is going to go. We talked about what's off limits, and I'm not going to talk about it because what I found out, off limits. So this is Dre Montez. So can I call you by your real name, your stage name?
You can. Call me Andre.
So Andre Moore.
Andre Moore.
How did you come up with Dre Montez, first of all?
My name is Dre Montez Moore Sr. So Dre is the nickname of Andre, and Montez is
So it's your real name?
It's my real name. Yeah. It's my real name.
This whole time I'm like, he's running from the law. Dre Montez.
48, not 18.
No. You've been running from the law for 30 years. So you do a lot of different things, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit. But you've got a unique look, a great attitude, a great outlook on life, and every time I talk to you, I feel like I got infused with a little bit of energy and a little bit of excitement. So you are truly a breath of fresh air when you walk into NexCore, and Anthony sat through almost every one of these, and I think I've maybe said that to one other person. Not that they're not a great asset, but you just always come bringing the energy, and I so appreciate that because you make it fun to walk through these doors. Every time you're in here, I get excited. But tell us a little bit about you, because aside from the fact that you're the podcast guy.
Yes. Podcastineer.
Podcastineer. So I may get in trouble for this, so correct me if I say it wrong. You're the hair guy. You're the beard guy. But I realized I don't know a lot about you, which is part of the reason I was so excited for this, because you live some different lives, you got some different careers, and you're an entrepreneur to the very core, and we'll talk about that as we explore this a little more. But who the hell are you besides that?
Man, that's a vast question. It starts out as Andre Moore Sr., then I go from Dre, then I go from Bruh Man, then I go from whatever anybody wants to call Bruh Man when I played competitive softball. That was one of the nicknames that I have. So when people say to me, who are you? I mean, it's just so many different ways I can attack that type of a question. I mean, the best way I can do it and handle it, depending on what type of situation I'm in. If I'm meeting with a prospective client, or I'm in a surrounding, or I'm meeting new business owners or new entrepreneurs, different ways like that. If I'm downtown, there's an event going on or coming up. So there's different ways I present the person I'm trying to introduce, even though it's still the same person up under one hat or one afro, but it's different avenues and different splitters I can put on there and let you know who I am.
Now I'm trying to think if I've seen you in a hat. I think I've seen you in a hat.
I wear a hat occasionally.
I've always seen you in an afro.
Yeah, Fro not going nowhere. Fro got to stay here. So gotta keep it. It's a shout out and an homage to my uncles who are no longer with me. So I wear it for them.
Did they have the fro?
Yes, all three of them did. All three of my uncles had it. May they rest in peace.
So I would I would like to see you grow it out long enough to just do a man bun.
That would never happen, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, so
you can try.
Here's what we'll do. So I'm going to set up a charity event.
Oh no.
And at the charity event, if you raise a certain amount of money, you have to put your hair in a man bun.
Okay, I'll put the hair in a man bun, but I'm not cutting my hair. Yeah, I do that.
No, you don't need to cut it. You got to keep it.
Because
it's got to be Samurai Dre. Coming out the top in
Afro Samurai.
Afro Samurai. I got no idea where the rest of this is going. But so your uncles that you mentioned, were they big influencers in your life?
Through different parts of my life. My Uncle Melvin, I was very young when I lost him. Showed me some things. Then I had my uncle.
Are you comfortable sharing some things?
Yeah.
So how did he influence you?
I was young. I was younger than 12 when he passed. Younger than 12. Just how to take care of yourself. You learn from your uncles or your dad how to put on deodorant, how to put a t-shirt, how to wash yourself, how to prepare for the day. So I learned that from him. My Uncle Jimmy taught me how to basically still be who you are and make your point strong. My Uncle William, he showed me, hey, enjoy the moment. You never know when it's up. So all three of them kind of had an influential part on me now and as I continue to grow.
Melvin, Jimmy, and William.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Gotcha. And when was the most recent?
The most recent, my Uncle William.
Okay.
He passed away a few years ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You just, it's so funny. Like, I love doing this because things happen, right? Conversation goes back and forth and memories are triggered. So I have to share this with you because I probably haven't thought about this since I was a little kid. And I walked into the bathroom, my dad was shaving. And of course, when you're 7, you think you need to shave, right? And when you're 8, you think you need to shave. And then when you finally shave, you wish you didn't have to shave anymore because it stinks. But I remember him telling me that you make sure you put the hot water on your face first to open things up before you shave. And different people have different perspectives, but I remember him saying that to me. And my son Nicholas is 14, and he's like, he grows facial hair better than I do. And I remember, this was maybe a year ago, I remember he came into the bathroom, I was shaving, and I'm like, well, let me tell you, you want to make sure that, and like, it's funny how those lessons are so...
It's how you remember them.
Yeah, but it's like deeply ingrained. Like, I didn't remember why I told him that until you said that about your Uncle Melvin.
No, Uncle Melvin.
About your Uncle Melvin, and I'm like, that just happened to me, right? That transfer of knowledge happened to me. I was talking to my wife the other day, and she talked about, my dad said this too, they both lost their fathers, and just talked about, sometimes you miss the ability to just take a little nugget of knowledge from time to time. So
yes.
It's cool that you have those memories and that you still pay homage.
Oh yeah, great memories.
So what else? What else can we find out about Dre Montez?
Well, as I said, I retired from softball, so that passion it's still there, but I don't get out as active. I can't be around. It's too emotional for me. I really cared about the game, and I also I used to dab a little bit in the restaurant industry. I would bartend in the off season just to keep my stitch going for my show, so to speak.
Yeah.
Getting that bar info and being around the sports, but then that kind of wore on me a little bit. So now between the podcast and the golf carts, that's about it.
All right, so let's figure out which one we want to tackle first, because I think those, I don't want to. I'm going to ask this in a question. I was going to make a statement,
Okay.
But what I've noticed is there's a couple things that really define what you do, and uniquely based on what you do, it defines a little bit who you are now. But is there anything else, and we're going to get to the podcast, we're going to get to the golf carts, but is there anything else that defines you that maybe we don't know about?
I just think it's just my aura, my energy. That's it. I'm always upbeat and positive.
That's a legit thing. Like it's a physical thing that you bring into a space.
Yeah.
Like sometimes before I walk into a room, I can feel that you're in there. It's like I mean that sincerely. Like people that bring in energy because the other people that are around are acting different.
Right.
And there's a handful of people in this space that really bring that, and you're for sure one of them. So like a lot of times I know you're here. And if it's Friday after 2, the beer fridge is unlocked.
Hey,
and I always know you're here.
You know that. Right? Dilly. No,
I thought it was no corn syrup. Dilly's gone, now it's no corn syrup?
It's something, man, but it's always something.
Can you say dilly again?
Dilly.
Yeah, that's Can you please make a gift? I want to text that to people. Alright, so it is your aura, totally agree. Anything else?
But it's the best way I can put it, and this is the most generic, overused statement. People have said this in interviews in the 90s and early 2000s. I'm a people person. I love being around people. I love showing people my city, telling about my city. And I love telling people what I saw on television, my take, my version, in a way I want to tell it to you to make you really pay attention. That's what I love about what I do and how I do.
So I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to come back to that because you said something, and I don't want to forget to ask you this, but if you watch any news channel, you have the ability to upset yourself based on what you see on TV.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the most upsetting things to me is how the city of St. Louis is portrayed outside of the city of St. Louis.
There you go.
And, I've heard people talk about, and this is what you and I have joked about this, the inner city of Ferguson. And my response is, have you ever been to Ferguson? Because there's not like an inner city. It's like a community.
Right.
And, there's a lot of negativity around St. Louis, and I know you're very passionate about the city, so I'd just like your take on the media's portrayal, no specific incident, but just in general, how is St. Louis portrayed and how is it inaccurately portrayed in your mind?
Through that conversation and the way you presented the question to me, this is how I come across it every time. I'm always meeting somebody visiting St. Louis.
Oh,
and I always want to say, how did you hear about St. Louis? What brings you here? Outside of family, kids, job, and sporting events and concerts, why are you here? How did you hear about St. Louis? Young lady from Minnesota, never been to St. Louis in her life, postal worker. It was Claire, 65 years old, came here by herself to St. Louis. Went to a Cardinal game, never been to a baseball game in her life. Never. Never even been to St. Louis. I said, so how did you hear about St. Louis? She said, I saw a commercial in Minnesota, but this is not the commercial from the view that I see from what they showed me. They showed her a commercial in Minnesota of St. Louis 10 years ago. So what troubles me, how is St. Louis being portrayed to other cities? Because here in St. Louis, we see how Iowa is shown to us, Nashville, Peoria, Illinois, Kansas City, Kansas. We see all of that telling us how to get here. So I don't know if it's the tourism division, is it the commission of the city? Who is putting out these videos that about our city is not even true? Because the Keener Plaza that's there now, she said the video she saw, it wasn't even complete. It doesn't even look remotely close to what she saw.
What? So hopefully you don't disagree with me, but I think what they did with Keener Plaza, I think it's super cool, man. I love
I love it.
Bringing the energy back to downtown. Where are you from? Are you from here?
Born and raised, 14th of Show.
Fantastic. So what are you? Are you a St. Louisan, or what do you call yourself? Is that the right term? I call myself Dre.
I'm a St. Louisan. I'm from the Loop.
All right. So here's my other question. As a native-born St. Louisan, self-proclaimed fan of the city.
Yes.
Big advocate, proponent for St. Louis. If somebody's coming here, they're getting here at 9 in the morning, they've got 8 hours, they're heading out at 5 o'clock. What must they do in their little click of time? What do they have to see? What do they have to do while they're in St. Louis?
How'd they get here?
They drove. They're driving through.
They drove through. City Museum.
Okay.
The zoo.
Okay.
The Arch.
Okay.
Gotta have lunch. I encourage you to eat outside somewhere. Eat outside somewhere downtown, South City, or the riverfront, because the riverfront is back open. Unbeknown to most St. Louisans don't know that St. Louis riverfront is completely back open. So you can travel that and check out the riverfront. Soulard is a must because of its historic value, and the shops over there a lot of people don't know about, as well as Washat. There's so many things you can do here in an 8-hour span. Even if the Cardinals are here or not, if there's a concert here or whatever. There's so many things in the city you can do, and not all of them have financial value to it at all. There's a lot that's just
cost.
Financial
I
cost.
think they all have financial value. Like our
Financial
zoo is
cost.
virtually
Amazing.
free, unless you want to drink or you want to pay to park in the parking lot. But there's always free parking. That's why St. Louis Zoo is recognized so highly, because it's a free zoo. I think we're the number 2 rated zoo in the country.
They got flat screen televisions at the zoo, Joe, to talk to you of the animal that you see.
I love this zoo.
That's top tier, my man.
All right, so we're going to the zoo. Sidebar. We're going to the zoo. We have 30 minutes. Where are you going?
The monkeys.
That is
The first cage you go to. I gotta go see. Since Planet of the Apes came out.
So the monkeys or the apes, though? Because they're like in a separate section.
Well,
I gotta see the silver.
They moving around. They just like a huge new apartment community complex out there. They got. I don't know how they doing the animals. I don't know what's going on. I went there one week. The animals were over here. The next week they're over here. But the gorillas and the apes are kind of close. Kind of take a kid to go to the zoo. They let you know everything.
All right, now you go there. You're going to see the monkeys, the apes, the gorillas. It's closed for the day. Got 28 minutes left. Where do you go next?
Art museum.
No, at the zoo.
Oh, at the zoo. Oh, it's good eye candy at the zoo. Ride the train. Good tall beer. They serve wine now.
Yes.
What else out there at the zoo? I like the
You gotta see
Asian.
the snakes.
I like the Asian elephants. I like them.
They're the small. Are they the smaller elephants?
Those are the ones that don't forget.
Okay.
Say something mean to them. See them 10 years later. Won't forget.
No, trunk right at you. So you didn't mention Grant's Farm.
I like Grant's Farm, but Grants Farm is kind of off the grid for people that are new to St. Louis. They will get lost. There are some things that are self-explanatory, real simple, but Grants Farm, not for the type of driver that only relies on the internet.
Right.
Or the type of driver that has no sense of direction. Grants Farm is not for you. But if all your bells and whistles click and you have a smartphone and car, you know how to utilize them, go to Grants Farm.
So, funny thing, I'll share a fact, I just learned this. So, we sit on the board, I sit on the board for Revitalize St. Louis. The president of the board is a guy named Jason Dale Pierce. And he shared something in one of our board meetings, and he said there was an architect firm that wanted to document all the different types of architecture that are used in the United States. And they came to St. Louis, is where they were going to start, and they never left St. Louis because every represented architectural construction style is represented in St. Louis, which I thought was just absolutely fascinating to hear. So they did the entire book, and Jason, if you watch this, put it in the comments what the name of the book is, but every single architectural style in the United States was represented in St. Louis. So it's such an amazing city. You said the art museum was the second place after the zoo that you would.
That place was amazing.
Go. Yeah, I have not been there. I think I went there last time as a field trip as a kid in school.
Oh, it's big time now. Big time. Big time.
I gotta go.
You might not want to take the kids now,
because
it's a mind-blowing experience. Put it like that.
Really.
The way they do it, the presentation of it, the whole setup is something else. It really is. It can possibly rekindle a relationship if you go to the art museum.
Really? So gotta go to the art museum.
That's the new dating spot. I don't know.
All right, let's move on. So you're a big sports fan, and your two passions really kind of intersect sports, because let's talk about the golf carts first, which I think is just an amazing thing that you do. I think it's super cool. Tell us a little bit about that, because it's not about golf.
No, not at all. It's just a unique transportation opportunity to get to and from Cardinal games or events that are happening downtown area, Wash Ave, or Soulard, or Lafayette Square. Just a different way to get down there. A lot of people in the normal world are Lyft and Uber or a cab. This is a different, conventional, more exciting way to get to the ballpark and to golf cart. And the way it started was, it's like a documentary you've seen, or the story of the skaters.
Right.
The way the idea came about is just through the roof. Now, it's not just me. There are other people that are involved, and the company is way expanded. My role is much smaller. It's expanded to electric cabs in North America now. It's more concentrated on the electrical side of going green, being that urban mobility connection. But my job here in St. Louis, I concentrate on the to and from to downtown events. That's my role.
So if somebody were to park at, I don't know, Keener Plaza, that's pretty close to walk, but so they park at Union Stakes and they want to get to the baseball game. How do they get a hold of you? Or is it just you have to be out and about?
No, not now. It's been going on more than 10 years. So 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty acclimated with all the parking lot attendants that are downtown, and a lot of people kind of know about it. And then you see the different carts that are riding around. There's usually a visible phone number, or we're not like driving 90 miles an hour, you can't catch us. And we pretty much know how to pay attention to the crowd and what parking lots to go to at what time. Like I said, it's been going on for a while now. It's been going very well, so I'm proud of it.
What does it cost to ride in the golf cart?
It's a free ride. It's just a tip. Just a tip for the fee for the driver.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing it? 10 years, you said?
10 years plus.
10 years plus. Would you take a venture a guess? How many different people have come through your golf cart?
It is amazing. I was telling Joel this, who's part of Brent Source here. I was telling him this story years ago, that one of the people that I met years ago on a golf cart bought a house here in St. Louis for his kids to go to college here. Both kids who have now went to college and graduated and moved on, and this guy still uses that house to come to Cardinal games. So I met that person on a golf cart, and we still have a nice relationship back and forth.
Fantastic. Who's the best baseball team?
St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I was going to have to abruptly end it. I'm just kidding. Like, if you're, I mean, you could be another sports fan. Just the Cardinals are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like, driving. If you're not a Cardinals fan, hey, that's on you. But don't wear the colors and go to the game and criticize the team and you say you're not a Cardinal fan. Those are things like that. I don't deal with that right there. But it is true.
Will you kick them off your cart?
I've done that a couple of times. It was Cubs Cardinal series years ago. But, Cubs and Cardinal fans now are different. They actually have kids and start a family together and have businesses together. I don't get that. So, but
I know a couple that got married. One from St. Louis, one from Chicago. And they got married, and it is like they are not allowed to talk about it at home.
There's some things I'm not putting myself in that situation. I'm not doing it. No. So that's 81, that's 6 months out of the year I can't talk to you. That's a perfect marriage.
Not for me. I love perfect marriage is communication and
yes, it is.
Anyway, let's change the gears and let's talk about your podcast. So your podcast is about sports
and entertainment.
Sports and entertainment.
Everything but politics and religion.
So they say there's 3 things you don't talk about: politics, sex, and religion. So you talk about sex on the show, just
yes,
about politics?
I do. I talk about sex, but in a different way, not to gross you out, but to like mid-'80s, early 2000 type sex talk. The good old days. One night stands were cool, that type of stuff.
VH1. Not Skinamax.
No, but we do miss that. We bring it back.
So I actually had Cinemax, and it's just like, it's a disappointing thing.
It's horrible. It's horrible what adolescents have to deal with now. That's why the curiosity is out there, because they don't have what we had.
No.
And now,
you know what they do have?
It's even worse. That's even worse.
They can look up anything.
I couldn't be a young parent today, because my kid would never get a cell phone today, at least 25.
So I will tell you, parents that want to contact me, there is an app that you can log into your child's phone, and even if they delete their search history, you can still see it. But be careful what you wish you did.
I tell you what.
I got a 14-year-old boy at home.
They didn't have this when I was out.
Right. It's like, I think about it, I'm like, I am really bummed out that they didn't have that when we were younger. Like, I wanted a smartphone.
That is the most frightening thing ever. Check my search history. No. I think that should be deleted every 10 pages. It should automatically delete your phone, your search history.
Incognito mode. Do you know what that is?
What's that?
Oh. We'll have an offline conversation. Incognito mode.
Okay. Oh! Yeah. Okay.
No history. Not that I would ever have anything that should not be in my search history, ever.
That old laptop of mine, that thing is dope.
Hashtag too much true.
I was young.
When you were young, they didn't have laptops.
Yeah, it's not that big. What brain waves now?
It's a Mac. Anyway, so let's talk about your podcast, because it's for a local St. Louis guy. It's got a lot of followers. It's got a lot of traction. You've done great things with that podcast. And how many episodes have you done now?
I'm up to 219. I'm doing 220 today.
Wow! Congratulations.
Thank you. But after total of 15 years in radio, podcasting for 3. The podcasting is much easier now to get into than when I first started. There's more information out there. There are bundles now. When it first started, nobody knew nothing. They know how to charge it. How can people listen to it? How can they find it? And now all of that is out there. But behind all that, you still have to do your grunt. It's a lot of work you do that goes unrecognizable to the unseen eye, but you know how much work you are doing. Yeah, because there's a lot that you do, especially when you work for yourself. I mean, everything is coming from you. So that type, I don't get exhausted from it, but I'm just trying to find out a simpler way to do what I want to do and still get it out to the masses.
And that's why you chose podcasting.
That's it right there. To do it my way, when I want to, how I want to, and charge what I want to. No knock on radio. I learned a whole lot from radio. I learned how to talk figures with radio, print, and media, as well as magazines and internet. I knew all the lingo in that. Thank you, radio, because it helps me do my job a whole lot better. So when I sell advertising to you, I'm more like the small business owner. That's how I think of podcasting.
Sure.
We know each other. I know everybody listens to my show. I either met them face to face, online, on a softball field, or somewhere. They have seen me on my jacket somewhere. So that's that connection. So when it comes to my sponsors and advertisers, my listeners and followers know me. They know I'm not going to put them on anything that's not right or for them to need to be there. So it kind of makes that connection a little bit better. So that's the beauty of podcast now.
Gotcha. So I kind of feel like everybody's got a podcast.
They should.
Nowadays. And a lot of people don't realize what should go into it. So my thing is, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
There you go.
And I think you should if you're gonna put the time in and do it right. So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions for the aspiring podcasters out there. So to do 220 episodes that's a lot. That's a lot of time.
Yes, it is.
So how long is your average podcast in minutes or hours?
I do a 1 hour podcast. That's the average.
Okay.
1 hour.
And in order to do a 1 hour podcast, how much time do you put in preparing for that?
About 10 hours.
Okay. So for every podcast you do, you're 11 hours invested. 10 hours of prep, 1 hour of recording, and then probably afterwards you got to do distribution and postings. So maybe 12 hours. So you put 12 hours in to a 1 hour podcast. Do you think that's the norm, or do you think you go a little bit above and beyond?
I think I go above and beyond because when I first find out about something, I just don't take it for what they tell me. Why did we get to this point? How did we get that point? Let me find out my details, not throw my own spin on it.
Right.
Because I just repeat what I'm hearing. Why would anybody listen to me? You can just listen to the source. So I throw a little sauce into it. Now, I just can't do verbatim, word for word. Yeah, the Cardinals won 2-1 last night. Okay. But there's other ways you can hear about that. So I don't oversaturate the Cardinals or the Blues. I get in and get out. Get it over with. The things that really intrigued me, like this week we had the UNC Zion Williamson situation in Duke. Then you also got Anthony Davis and the contract and the television contract. So there's more to that story. I think it's going to be a bigger box when it opens up. And then people are going to come back like, wow, this was the precedent of this case, which is about to happen again about 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line. That's how I look at it.
What would you say is the thing that you are trying to accomplish most with your podcast? What's the mission?
That's a great question, Jim. And I talk to myself about this every day. I'm trying to make my podcast, Who's to Blame, with Dre Montez, more about the listeners and the sponsors and the advertisers than about me. Give it that visual effect to it. You know, I understand you listen to me, but when you watch it, you really don't get more out of it when you watch it. When you listen, it's going to make you want to watch it. When you watch it, you're going to want to listen to it. So that's why I do the audio and the video as well, to get both sides of it. Because I like listening to audio and I like watching stuff too.
Which one gets more traction for you?
The video. Once I added video to it, and my man Anthony Stewart did the graphics for me.
Who?
Anthony Stewart. He really changed the game for me moving forward in 2019.
Anthony is amazing. If you
Yes.
haven't met Anthony, you need to stop by NexCore and see him.
Check him out.
So, Dre, I feel like this is just flown by. We're almost out of time, aren't we? Yeah. So it's just absolutely flown by. We have to do this again, but I want to kind of end with this. I have told several people that walk through this door that ultimately, not everybody, but most people that are doing something, they are a brand, right? So you're the Dre Montez brand. You just happen to do a podcast, right? So that's part of who you are. And, because of that, we didn't even really get into like background and stuff like that, which I really want to do. But not everybody is given everything they want in life, and sometimes they have to have bumps and bruises to get where they're trying to go. So I don't know if your journey has been peaceful and prosperous, or if it's been bumpy and rowdy as you're trying to go down the road, but just take a minute or so and just share any advice that you might have for somebody that's on a journey, whatever that is, wherever they're going, just from the perspective of Dre Montez, with your spin and your light and your personality, which is so incredible.
It all has to do with your upbringing. That's one key component. Your upbringing has to do with the people around you. Your team has to be positive, whether they work for you or not. The people you lean on to for advice, throw ideas to. Should I do this? Should I not do this? They have to be truthful and honest with you. And for one, share your ideas out loud. Write it down. Have a list. Believe in yourself and reach out to people who are doing the exact same thing you're trying to get into. That way you can prevent a whole lot of useless, misused time if you get with somebody that has done what you're trying to do. That's one thing about me. I didn't have nobody in podcasting to reach out to. I had to just sit back and figure out how to flip from doing radio with all these people to do this by myself. How can I add content to this and value to it at the same time and still be satisfied with the outcome? So when you get all that out there, whatever your path is, the career you're trying to do, just stay on it. Stay positive. You're going to have bumps and bruises, like you said. Well, get some off-road tires. Right. You may get stalled or get a Hemi. You get lost, get some direction, get them out. But just don't give up, because there are a lot of people, a lot of my friends are in situations, they're miserable because they're doing something they think they should be doing, but they're not happy. I'm not saying everybody should be happy in their job, but damn it, I'm not going nowhere for 8 to 10 hours a day and coming home and I'm not happy. Leaving, should have went there, and I gotta go home and I express all that anger to somebody else. No, it shouldn't be that way. So if you have your cores and your values and your policies together and you follow that and stay with it, no matter what you do, I think it can all turn out in a positive way.
Awesome, man. Great sound advice for everyone. Thank you for being our guest today.
No problem.
Right.
Thank you, NexCore. Thank you, Jim.
Where do you film your podcast more
NexCore.
often than not? Oh, what?
NexCore.
One more time?
My NexCore. Hashtag powered by my NexCore.
Dre, thank you so much, man. Again, I love the energy. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to, don't forget, hashtag Dre's Man Bun.
We will find a charity, trust me. I know this guy will.
We will find a charity. We're gonna.
So I'm gonna grow the fro out until football season. Then we'll go from there.
So that's not grown out?
Yeah. This is just a little bit.
Baby fur.
This baby. I gotta get ready for opening day.
Coming up.
There it is.
Anyway, thanks guys for watching Real Conversations with Mr. Dre Montez, NexCore's resident podcast superstar.